Alright, this is Christopher Fox once again, and this is a request the same for David. And the name of this video is Van to lead the Canadian Cannibal from Greyhound Bus. I done a video on this whole case a while back, and it was one of the worst things. One of the worst cases I've ever fucking heard. But thank you so much for the request. This video's gonna piss me the fuck off because the fact that he got away with it is just bullshit, but let's check it out.
It was around 6 p.m. on July 30th, 2008 when Vince Lee, a tall, well-built Asian man, boarded a Greyhound bus traveling from British Columbia to Winnipeg.
Okay, sorry,
Standing over 6 feet
top
tall,
subtitles in Japanese.
Some passengers say he seemed agitated and possibly confused as he climbed aboard, but he did not seem to be a threat. He chose a seat at the front of the bus, spoke to no one, and eventually disembarked briefly to smoke a cigarette at a rest stop. When Lee returned to the bus, he seemed dissatisfied with his original seat, choosing instead to sit next to Tim McClain towards the rear of the bus. Born on October 3, 1985, McClain was an active athlete and a beloved son, father, brother, and uncle.
Yeah, he was a brother and uncle and brother,
he was known as an
just like me.
Person who loved traveling and meeting new people. He took up employment as a carnival employee in 2008 and was returning home on Greyhound Bus 1170 through Saskatchewan.
By the way, guys, my cold is worse today, so I apologize. If you hear any gross sniffling sounds or any of that, it's because I have a big-ass damn head cold. It's bad. I just took some fucking medicine for it, so bear with me.
He had boarded the bus earlier in the day around noon and sat in the rear one row ahead of the restroom. When Lee moved to the seat next to him, he thought nothing of it. He barely acknowledged him and proceeded to fall asleep, his head against the window and headphones in. He was awoken just 5 minutes later as Lee began to impale him in the neck. Vince Lee was not a well man. Before he boarded the bus,
just a psychotic
he was already showing
psychopath.
Signs of someone on the brink of a mental episode. He was observed sitting at the bus stop long before his ride was scheduled to arrive. Emotionless and quiet,
I hate seeing pictures of this piece of shit. I hate these pictures of this fucking asshole.
In fact, he sat there through the entire night, bolt upright with his eyes
open. Excuse me, didn't mean to burp like that, guys.
Morning, just hours before he would board the bus with Tim McClain,
this can fucking
he sold his laptop to a 15-year-old boy for $60. Once Lee's gruesome actions became public, however, the computer was quickly confiscated. Vince Lee was 44 years old at the time of his arrest.
He was 44, which means he knew what the fuck he was doing.
Although he studied computer science in China, he was unable to find steady work in Canada, moving from jobs at McDonald's to Meatland Food to Walmart, where he was eventually fired over a disagreement with a co-worker. All the while, he harbored deeply disturbing thoughts about aliens and how he had been chosen by God to vanquish them. It was only later he understood this voice to be a symptom of schizophrenia and not the work of a divine power. Lee traveled around trying to find the aliens he was supposed to destroy, and he felt he finally came to the end of his search when he saw McClain that day. McClain was the alien he was destined to kill.
Of all people, they picked the most nicest guy in the world.
Never mind. Even though now he knows it was completely wrong. There were dozens of witnesses that day when Lee changed his seat and positioned himself next to sleeping McClain. Just moments after the bus began moving, Lee calmly pulled out a massive hunting knife and began using it against McClain. The young man instantly snapped to attention and began screaming in pain and horror, a scream that haunts many of the other passengers to this day. Although he fought desperately for a few moments, he was no match for the killer.
And the bus driver didn't see any of this? There was like a mirror on top of their windshield, right?
As Lee impaled McClain over and over, he was calm and methodical, never changing his expression or showing emotion.
He should have seen what he was doing.
Onlookers were shocked by his lack of rage and the way he committed the killing almost robotically, stabbing him close to 60 times according to one witness. As the screams of horror filled the bus and the driver pulled urgently to the side of the road, Lee began to cut off McClain's head and dismember his body.
Jesus Christ, that's brutal.
Screaming from the bus, the driver and
that's worse than any horror movie out there.
The bus again to see if they could help the victim. Lee chased him away with the knife, forcing him to exit the bus and lock the door from the inside. Lee grabbed McClain's severed head and brandished it for the stunned passengers, dropping it near the door and then retreating to eat some flesh from the mutilated body.
Gross.
The Royal Canadian Mounted Police were not prepared when they received word of what happened on the Greyhound that day.
And he got away with it. This piece of shit got a fucking way with it.
Guarding the door with a crowbar and hammers. The driver had cleverly engaged the emergency immobilizer system so the killer could not attempt to drive the bus away. By 9 p.m., the police were in a standoff with
Canada. Never going to Canada now.
Trapped inside until special negotiators and heavily armed tactical units arrived on the scene. When he tried to escape through a back window of the bus, he was tasered twice and handcuffed.
He deserved to be a lot worse than tased. He should have been fucking shot.
Canadian law has surprisingly lax requirements for those with mental illness. Lee refused to hire a lawyer. However, those who represented him stated he could not be accountable for what he did due to his
God, he is so disgusting.
And the judge agreed. As a result, Lee was
Sick
committed to
fuck.
a high-security psychiatric ward for 1 year so he could be evaluated and treated according to his condition. McClain's parents, on the other hand, were looking for answers, none of which they found that day. Their lives were shattered by their son's untimely death, and it seemed no one could be held responsible for their pain. For those who witnessed the horrific killing of Tim
I can't believe, like I said, that this piece of shit actually got away with it and got what he fucking wanted and got what he did not fucking need. Is to be fucking free.
Some tried to drink the memories away, while others have sought therapy and even moved to new locations. For many, their lives have been destroyed by the PTSD they experienced after the killing.
God, the passengers, I feel so bad for them. Especially the kids.
The thing most of the passengers seem to recall with perfect clarity is the sound of McClain's scream as he woke to the terror of what was happening. They just can't seem to rid themselves of the sound. When police boarded the bus,
I wouldn't
they
either.
were faced with an intensely gruesome scene. Not only had McClain's remains been hacked apart, but there seemed to be some missing body parts as well. When they searched Lee, they found the victim's nose and tongue in his pocket.
Oh my God, that's disturbing.
Findings later revealed McClain's eyes
They
and
keep it as
parts of his
trophies,
mouth were
right?
recovered, supposedly eaten by his killer that night. The horror of the situation took its toll on everyone involved. Many of the passengers from that night suffered from reoccurring nightmares and feelings of severe anxiety. The Mountie who first boarded the bus the night of McClain's death never recovered from his shock. Although he had been exposed to many gruesome and frightening scenes over the years, he could not seem to shake those bloody images from his mind. Burdened and overwhelmed by his PTSD, he finally took his life 6 years after the murder.
That sucks. Poor
The trauma
guy.
became too much, and he could no longer do his job
All because of
handle
this
the daily
fucking
torment
piece of
his
shit
own
that killed a
private
man
health.
for no reason.
Because Lee was a cooperative patient during his time at Selkirk Mental Health Center in Manitoba, he eventually
No, he need to be locked up for life by what he fucking did.
Outside and having visitors. In an even more shocking development, Lee changed his name to William Baker and was released from the facility and granted full freedom. Although McClain's parents have said they have no words for the grave injustice of this decision, Lee has been living on his own in a Winnipeg apartment since November 2016.
Why wasn't he arrested?
Even though the court has
God, this
decided
fucking
he does
video.
not pose a significant threat to the safety of the public, there are many in the community who cannot seem to dismiss the heinous nature of his actions. Lee is on a waiting list for a post-secondary training program and wants to build a
Cannot
career in
stand
the
this.
area. The health professionals involved all seem sure he understands his mistakes and only wishes to live a moral, responsible life. But if someday he were to forget to take his medication, mislead his doctors or even slip away to another area, there's no telling what could happen. Will Baker is a free man with no obligations or restrictions on his ability to
Yeah,
live
that's
an autonomous,
bullshit.
independent life.
Bullshit. This fucking cocksucker of a fucking person did not get any time in fucking jail. That's bullshit. He killed a man he killed the fucking guy in a fucking nasty way. I mean, he deserved to be in fucking jail for life. But fortunately, that man, Tim McClain, will never get a fucking chance to meet his kid. Never get a chance to get married. He'll never get a chance to go on any adventures. I mean, it's sad. I mean, the damn world we're living in. No wonder this. Yeah, it's bullshit. Fuck Vince Lee. He can go burn in fucking hell. Fuck him. Rest in peace to McClain. Poor soul, poor person. That's bullshit. Fuck Vince Lee for doing that. Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. See you on the next video. Peace out.